Welcome to the amazing world of dinosaurs. I'm Tyler, and this is Anna.
Plant eaters were by far the most abundant dinosaurs of prehistoric times.
Bones of plant eaters have been found on every continent.
Even Antarctica.
They came in all shapes and sizes.
From incredibly huge, like the Brontosaurus,
to pretty small, like the Gracilloceratops.
some had huge plates of armor, like the Ankylosaurus, or long horns, like the Triceratops.
And some had beaks, like the duck-billed Hadrosaurus.
But they were all vegetarians.
It's Vegisaurus time on
Sauropods and the Plant Eaters.
Plant eaters are separated into two distinct groups. Sauropods, the huge dinosaurs like this Diplodocus, and ornithischians, or beaked dinosaurs like this Triceratops. Both groups ate whatever plants and vegetation were available. A typical stretch of forest would have looked similar to this: a hardwood hammock in Florida's Everglades. Sauropods would have eaten vegetation that grew high up in tall trees, like the leaves of this gumbo limbo tree. While the smaller ornithischians ate vegetation that was closer to the ground, like this sable palm. Like theropods, meat-eating dinosaurs, plant-eating dinosaurs had specially designed teeth and feet. Only in this case, they were developed for eating vegetation and supporting weight, not hunting and eating prey.
To eat plants, you want a nice flat tooth to grind the plant up into fine mesh or pulp so that you can swallow it and absorb it. And I've got some teeth from a Triceratops, that famous dinosaur with the 3 horns on his face. These are teeth from a Triceratops. This is an upper tooth, and this is a lower tooth. And you can see how short they are. They're not big, long teeth. They're little, short teeth, and they grind together and mesh up, pulp up, grind up leaves and things like grasses so that the animal can digest them easily. This is a toe to a duck-billed dinosaur, a very famous dinosaur. There were herds and herds of these that lived in North America and around the world, but in North America, they lived in giant herds like buffalo. And this is a very dull, flat foot bone. It had these so that it could walk very easily on the ground, and it could just plod along like a buffalo or like a cow in big herds and go very slowly.
Did you know that all dinosaurs shed their teeth?
And then they would just grow another one in its place?
Imagine if humans could do that. We'd get a lot of money from the tooth fairy.
Do you know which plant eater had the most teeth?
Neil Larson is a world-famous dinosaur hunter. Here at a fossil exhibition, we asked him about the teeth of plant-eating dinosaurs.
Plant-eating dinosaurs, the duck-billed dinosaurs that we have in Dakota, Montana. We have a lot of Monosaurus annectens. Here at this show, you'll see really an excellent one. The number of teeth that they had in their mouth is an incredible number. Monosaurus annectens, full-grown adult, would have more than 1,500 teeth, which it would chew with. Only all of those teeth were constantly shedding. Shed teeth would then go into the belly, help grind up food that it had already eaten. So a duck-billed dinosaur with 1,500 teeth in its mouth would not use all of those for chewing the food at one time. They would have a single layer, but they were constantly shedding teeth, as all dinosaurs did. They would probably shed several a week, maybe a lot more than that. And so all of these cool shed teeth that we find of duck-billed dinosaurs probably ended up through their intestinal tract and helped digest the food besides chewing it at some point or another in its life.
Bucky Derflinger, another dinosaur hunter, is at the same exhibition. He has found an Edmontosaurus, an ornithischian, in unprecedented quality.
This is the tibia and fibula from an adult Edmontosaurus from the Hell Creek Formation. And one of the really cool things about this fossil is that it's white. And most of the fossils that we find from this formation are real dark colored. They look more like coffee. This is the only dinosaur, to my knowledge, from this formation that's white. And the bone quality on this particular dinosaur is just about as good as it can get. And the best part of this dinosaur would be the lower jaw, and that's what this bone is here. And if you can look, the teeth on this dinosaur are just absolutely beautiful. There's all of these little teeth that are on here. There's probably 2,000 teeth right here that's laying all together, and they formed in rows. And so you can see how nice and pretty they are. And this is the top part of the teeth where they would chew up their food.
The word ornithischian means bird-hipped because of their bird-like hips.
Even though birds are more closely related to the lizard-hipped theropod dinosaurs.
Ornithischians come in all shapes and sizes.
I know. Dr. Joe can tell us all about them.
Oh yeah, he's in charge of the dinosaurs at the Denver Museum of Nature and Science, right?
That's right. Let's go hear what he has to say.
Behind me are two members of a major radiation of dinosaurs called ornithischians. These are the beaked dinosaurs. So in contrast to the huge sauropods which ate plants, these are some of the smaller animals that had beaks and teeth to process plants. On the right here is a triceratops. This is a representative of the horned ornithischians. So this is the horned group. And on the left here is Edmontosaurus. This is one of the duckbill dinosaurs, and this is a classic duckbill. Duckbills are notable for their size. They get very, very large. In fact, they approach sauropod size. They have two large hind limbs and smaller forelimbs. They likely walked on four limbs most of the time because they're so big and heavy, but they probably were able to rise up and walk on two limbs as well. They have an incredible lattice work of tendons that help rigidify or make their spine much stronger. And their skull is designed for chewing plants. These were the plant processors of the time of the dinosaurs. They had beaks in the front on their large, broad bills. They had an incredible array of teeth, thousands of teeth that were perfect for slicing and crushing plant material. And that was likely the bulk of a hadrosaur diet. They ate a lot of plants, things like conifers and some of the first flowering plants that were appearing, probably formed the bulk of what Edmontosaurus was eating. They're known from primarily North America, the duckbills themselves, but toward the end of the time of dinosaurs, they radiate out and they move into Asia, and they actually move south into South America. And the farthest one south that's known is known from the Cretaceous, the end of the time of dinosaurs in Antarctica.
One of the best known groups among the ornithischians are the ceratopsian dinosaurs, like this Protoceratops, or the more famous Triceratops.
So living alongside the hadrosaur dinosaurs, the duckbills, were the ceratopsians, like Triceratops. And these were incredibly ornamented dinosaurs. They had big beaks in the front, but it was their frill and their head that became incredible. They had horns over their eyes, sometimes over their nose, and sometimes horns all along the frill. Triceratops is a classic example of one of these horned dinosaurs. It has huge brow horns and a smaller horn over its nose. And these were likely used for anything from defense to combat with other Triceratops. And some of them may have just been used for display, for showing off during mating behaviors. Triceratops was an incredible plant eater though. Its teeth are perfectly designed for slicing plants into little pieces. So it would approach a tree or a plant, grab it with that huge beak, chop right through it, and then use its amazing array of teeth to chop that into little bits. And this is how dinosaurs like duckbills and ceratopsians differ from other plant eaters like giant sauropods. They were using their teeth to process the food rather than their stomachs. So they're able to chop up and process food a lot more like what you see in a cow or other mammals. They became much more advanced.
There is one more distinct group among the ornithischians, a group of super armored dinosaurs.
Living alongside hadrosaur dinosaurs, the duckbills, and ceratopsians, the horned dinosaurs, was another radiation of beaked dinosaur, the plated and armored dinosaurs. Let's go look at one over here. So this is an ankylosaur dinosaur, one of these really armored turtle-like dinosaurs that lived alongside things like sauropods and later alongside ceratopsian and duckbill dinosaurs. They're incredibly armored with these what are called osteoderms, these pieces of bone that sat directly in the skin. And a lot of them also have spikes for protection along the sides, along the tails, and sometimes even a tail club used for protection. In fact, some of these ankylosaur dinosaurs get so well protected, they get little osteoderms, these plates, in their eyelids. So actually when they close their eyes, they can protect their eyes as well. What's really unique about these is that they have really short, stumpy legs. They weren't very tall, and that allowed them to squat down and protect themselves if they were being attacked by a predator. Ankylosaur dinosaurs, these armored dinosaurs, were incredibly successful. They appeared relatively early on in the time of the dinosaurs, and they lasted all the way until the end. And they were globally distributed. They're found in North America, Asia, and Europe. They're also found as far south as Antarctica.
Wow, ornithischian dinosaurs are really cool.
Yeah, that Ankylosaurus had crazy armor.
And that Edmontosaurus was humongous.
But not quite as humongous as our next group of dinosaurs.
That's right, it's time to introduce the gentle giants of prehistoric times.
The largest animals ever to have walked on land, sauropod dinosaurs.
Paleontologist Dr. Bob Bacher is perhaps one of the best-known dinosaur experts in the world.
Don't you love it? This is a dinosaur. This is a dinosaur thigh. Here we are at the knee end, and up the shaft of the middle thigh, and way up here, the hip socket. This is a big guy. This is a barosaur, run maybe 90, 100 feet long, a little head at one end, long, skinny neck, massive torso with elephant-like legs, and an incredibly long, dangerous whip-like tail. The dinosaur family tree has so many species in it, it's more like a blueberry bush. And the first cloud of species, the first tangle of branchlets, is this guy.
Sauropods were not only the largest dinosaurs that ever lived, they were the largest land animals that ever lived. Imagine that a giraffe and an elephant had a baby. This baby would have a long neck and massive torso and legs. This looks something like sauropods. One of the smallest sauropods ever discovered was Europasaurus. But being one of the smallest sauropods doesn't mean that you're small. Europasaurus was still 20 feet long and weighed in at 3 tons, probably the largest animal in its ecosystem. Brachiosaurids were a unique family among the sauropods. Their bodies were exceptionally tall, and their necks were very long, even for sauropods. They would have been able to reach leaves on branches that were too high for other sauropods. Apatosaurus, or Brontosaurus, is by far the best known of the sauropods. It grew up to 72 feet long and weighed 20 tons and was one of the first complete dinosaur skeletons to be discovered. But it wasn't the largest, by far. For quite a while, Argentinosaurus was considered the largest dinosaur ever discovered. It could have weighed as much as 100 tons and been 85 feet long. A truly massive beast. But still, not the biggest. That prize goes to the 122-ton, 200-foot-long behemoth, Amphicelius. Though findings date back to 1877, no complete skeleton has ever been recovered. But paleontologists are able to use the vertebra, or backbone, of Amphicelius to calculate its enormous weight and size.
I'm standing here in front of Diplodocus carnegie, one of the largest sauropod dinosaurs known. It's a really long animal. Sauropod dinosaurs were one of the most successful groups, and they all kind of have a similar body form. They have a long neck, the little tiny head on the top, and a long whip-like tail. But these were the huge giants of the dinosaur time, and they were incredibly successful from the very beginning all the way to the very end of the reign of the dinosaurs 65 million years ago. This specimen is about 150 million years old. It comes from Utah, and it preserves a lot of the features of this group. It has the very long neck, it has a little tiny head with pencil-shaped teeth, and these teeth are perfect for raking leaves and plants. And this was the bulk of sauropod diets. They ate a lot of plants. They have a huge body, and this is like a big fermentation tank. And we think that they may have even used stones in their stomach to help process those plant remains. And they probably also likely had a symbiotic relationship, a partnership with things like bacteria. And that's something that you see in animals alive today. They use these bacteria to help process plants, which are really difficult to digest. Like I said, sauropods are incredibly huge. This one is about 100 feet long, but we know they got even larger. And they were huge for almost their entire time here on Earth. And as you can see, it's nearly an elephant herd in size.
Why did sauropods develop such long necks?
So because sauropods have such long necks, it would have given them an incredible reach that other dinosaurs wouldn't have to be able to eat leaves and other plants that are high off the forest floor. It also gives them an amazing ability to stand in one spot and cover a large area. Imagine if you were standing in one spot, the longer your arm is means the more things you can reach. Their head was basically the hand on the end of your arm. They could reach out and grab more plants with that long neck. We know based on the plants that grew at the time sauropods lived that they likely ate a lot of ferns and potentially some conifers, things like pine trees and cycads that are alive today.
If Triceratops had long horns and Ankylosaurus had thick armor to protect itself, what was a sauropod's form of defense?
From trackway evidence, we can see that, at least in some cases, sauropod dinosaurs may have traveled in herds or large groups. This may have been for protection. In fact, the large size of these animals was probably great for protecting them from the meat-eating dinosaurs that lived alongside of them. So unlike a lot of dinosaurs which have spikes and horns for defense, sauropod dinosaurs have their size, their bulk, but also likely their tail. They could use their long whip-like tails to knock over any potential predators. Some of the unique things about sauropods, given their size, are the fact that many of their bones are actually hollow. A lot of their vertebrae have air sacs, places for pneumatic cavities, kind of like sinuses, to invade the bone and make them much, much lighter than it would be if it was a solid bone. So their neck and their back are much, much lighter than you would expect for an animal this size, although they still reached several tons in weight.
Where do paleontologists find sauropods?
Sauropods appear very early in the fossil record with dinosaurs, and they appear as small versions of these giants, four-legged but still long-necked. They quickly radiate in the fossil record, and they cover the entire globe, and they're known for most of the world throughout the time of the dinosaurs. Toward the end of the time of the dinosaurs, they disappear in some northern continents like Asia and Europe and North America. But for the most part, they're a global group. Sauropods are known all around the world.
I bet sauropods were so big and heavy, they probably had sauropads on their feet.
Yeah, I bet. Because sauropods were so big, they had to develop a perfect center of mass.
That means most of their weight, which was in their elephant-like torsos, was in the middle of their bodies.
And some sauropods could probably stand on their hind legs in order to get a quick bite at some of the even higher vegetation.
Join us next time as we dive into the realm of dinosaur eggs and babies.
Thanks for watching
The Amazing World of Dinosaurs.